If it seems like narcissism surrounds you and that narcissists get away with various manipulations and abuse and there's nothing you can do about it, well, there's truth to that. Once society normalizes narcissism, when you stand against it, you become the abnormal one. And maybe you feel this way. Welcome to Babylon, where narcissism is normalized and encouraged. The reality is you and I have been born in Babylon. We're going to talk about how to understand Babylon and the narcissism that we're surrounded by. My name is Kevin and this is The Royal We. Now before I continue, I want to let you know that I'm here for your support. Down in the description box below this message, you'll find access for one-on-one appointments with me. In addition to that, I have a brand new life coaching program where I teach every day, Monday through Friday, live with questions and answers. Now, for those of you who are trying to start a brand new life, you cannot afford to miss out on this. It's only $49 for an entire month. For those of you who are excited to see my new videos as I upload them, I encourage you to get involved because the live classes go even deeper than these videos. Now, we're talking about being born in Babylon in this message. This is something that we actually talked about all this past week in class, all right? So you don't want to miss out on the class. Now, being born in Babylon, what is Babylon? Babylon, first of all, was a real place. It's not just some biblical fairy tale. Babylon's modern day Iraq. It existed 15th, 16th century BC, a region next to Mesopotamia. These regions were the dominance of the world, the United States of the world, if you will. But after the downfall of Babylon, Babylon's name still existed. You see it mentioned numerous times in the ancient literature of the Bible, but it exists as a principle, as an idea, as a spirit, if you will. Kind of like Jezebel. How many of you have heard Jezebel, calling somebody a Jezebel? There was actually at one time a person named Jezebel. And the principle or the identity, the spirit, if you will, of Jezebel lives on as it's manifested in other people. The same is true with Babylon. In order to understand what Babylon was all about and how it reeked of narcissism and operated in narcissism that led to its downfall, and how it relates to where you and I are at, we need to look at some ancient literature, some ancient texts of the Bible. We can find what Babylon was really all about in the book of Isaiah when it talks about Babylon's destruction. The first thing that we see is it says this in the book of Isaiah. It says Babylon will fall into disaster that, number one, it cannot charm its way out of. So the first thing to understand about the Babylonians and that Babylon is that it operates with charm. Charm became the number one asset of the culture, being able to charm. What is charm? Charm is being able to allure, seduce. It's like spell casting. How many of you have dealt with narcissists in your life who have charmed their way into your life? When charm becomes the number one asset, it becomes something that people can trade. People in this society believe they can charm their way into your life. They don't have to show commitment. They don't have to work hard to earn it. All they have to do is learn the secrets and the keys to being charming. And charm has become some kind of a trading mechanism. This is what was going on in Babylon. This is what's going on in this world, and this is what narcissists do. They don't come to you offering any real commitment, anything solid, anything that's just, anything that's equal. They come to you with charm and they seduce you. When charm is the one thing that people trade for something else that they want, well, what are you really getting? At the end of the day, you're left feeling gross and disgusted, right? You just allowed somebody in your life, you gave them something valuable, maybe you gave them your body, your sex, whatever, in exchange for their charm. It's not even something, it's not even an object. You can't objectify charm. It's subjective. Yet, it's one of the most important things even in this culture. There are classes, even right now as you're watching this video, there are YouTubers out there who are teaching people how to be more charming. class is teaching people how to be players, how to be alpha. What is this stuff? All it is just charm. Snake charmers, right? Spell casting, influencing, whatever the case, whatever you want to call it, it's charm, it's manipulation, it's evil. So the book of Isaiah tells us that Babylon operated with charm. It was their number one asset. The second thing that we see in the book of Isaiah is it says that the destruction that's going to fall upon you, talking about Babylon, you won't be able to atone for. You won't be able to atone for. So the second thing we see about Babylon is that it operated with atoning for its wrongs. Now we oftentimes refer atonement, we believe atonement is a good thing. We look at it as a biblical principle of righting a wrong. But how many of you are aware that atonement is not repentance? Atonement isn't even being sorry. All atonement is giving something in exchange for something that was wrong, just giving something to make the problem go away. That's essentially what atonement is. And this wrongdoing, well, I'll pay for the wrongdoing. That's all it is. It's paying for a wrong duty, for a wrongdoing, so to speak, by giving something. Let me give an example in case you're lost on this one. Atonement simply can be somebody wrongs you, comes back and says, here, let me buy you something. All right, forget about it. We're good? There you go, I bought you something. Somebody comes into your life, uses you, abuses you, leaves, come back and says, hey, come on, let me take you out to dinner. Right? Get over it. There's no real apology. There's no real repentance. It's just, okay, I wronged you. Let me buy you a purse. This'll take care of it. Come on, I know you'll feel better if I do this. This is atonement. This is how Babylon operated. There was never any real apology. There was never any repentance within the society. They just operated from atonement. Somebody wronged you. Here, throw them a gift basket. Make it all better. That's atonement. So two things so far that we see. Number one, they operated on charm. Number two, they operated in atonement. And by the way, many of you who've dealt with narcissists already can see that you've dealt with just this. They charmed their way into your life. Not only that, but then when they wronged you, instead of changing, instead of repenting, instead of apologizing, they would come back and just throw something your way, some kind of lame gift basket, right? So to speak, take you out to dinner, whatever, get over it, which allowed them to stay in the same cycle. So this is the first two things we see in the book of Isaiah. The last thing that we see in Isaiah's warning of Babylon's destruction is it says, the disaster that's falling on you, that's gonna fall on you, is like anything that you know, have known. You won't be able to know or understand it. What we're being told here is that Babylon believed it knew everything. It was a society that was based on knowing things, much like the society that we operate in, right? Everybody wants to be all-knowing. We sit around and watch debates and people talk, people the likes of Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson, whatever else. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of great and valuable insights that we can learn, but we've got to be careful of not falling into the trap where the most important thing becomes, well, how much everybody knows. We know everything. We don't lose a debate. And this is what these people oftentimes operate by. Jordan Peterson, I won't lose a debate. I'm all knowing. Ben Shapiro, I'm all knowing. I won't lose a debate. I know everything. Now, I'm not saying that these people are necessarily evil. That's not what I'm trying to say, because perhaps they don't know. Once again, they're living in a culture and the society that we live in that promotes that. Kudos to the person who's all knowing and doesn't lose a debate. Look up to the ones perceived as greatness. That's the society that we live in. Like I said, those are the three things that the ancient literature of the Bible has to say about Babylon, the spirit of Babylon, right? Babylon was a place that existed, but it lives on in principle and in idea. It's carried on. Rome was also referred to as Babylon in the ancient literature of the Bible. And then in Revelations, which is a book that people don't really understand, but it also refers to Babylon. An unknown Babylon. So when you look at what Babylon was all about, the three things that caused its destruction, you can start to look around you and say, wow, I'm in Babylon. I now know what Babylon is. Well, what's next for Babylon? Well, just like happened with the actual Babylon, 15th, 16th century BC, just like happened to Rome, the inevitable outcome of Babylon is that it falls. It gets taken over, it gets wiped out. A destruction will fall upon Babylon that it won't be able to charm its way out of. A destruction so severe that the people won't be able to atone their way out of it. A destruction and a chaos will fall upon Babylon that they won't know how to get their way out of. So if you and I have been born in Babylon, well, buckle up. Because the more narcissistic it gets, the more these principles are lived by, the more inevitable the downfall is going to be. So understand the environment that you're surrounded by. And what do? Well, all you can do is do your part to stand aside from it. You can recognize the narcissism and culture. You don't have to be a part of it. I'm here for your support. Down in the description box, you find access for one-on-one appointments with me. In addition to that, brand new life coaching program where I teach every day, Monday through Friday, live in person, questions and answers. You cannot afford to miss out on it. $49 for an entire month. All right, and I'll be here with more videos for you right here on the Royal We. Now, before I go, I encourage you to watch this video right here. YouTube recommends this video for you, so I'm going to agree with it. All right, enjoy this video, and I'll be back with more videos for you right here on the Royal We.